2 Corinthians 4:10-11 says, always carrying about in the body the dying of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be manifested in our body. For we who live are constantly being delivered over death for Jesus' sake, so that the life of Jesus may also be manifested in our mortal flesh. Well, if you're joining us in reading through this 90-day reading plan, today's reading is 2 Corinthians chapters 3 and 4, and I encourage you to read that passage. In early Christianity, as well as certain denominations today, our life in Christ is viewed as a struggle. It is not a bad struggle. However, it is a struggle that brings with the need for us to die to ourselves so that we might live for Christ. The term that is used for struggle is the term ascesis. It really means to do something that is hard. Our life in Christ should not be one which is always easy and fun-filled. Certainly there are many times it will be unimaginably fun, but there are also times in which we should struggle, and our walk seems as if we're walking up a tall mountain. A Christian's goal in life should not be to acquire things. The Christian's goal should look more like Christ and act more like Him on a second-by-second basis. Unfortunately, our life tends to be just the opposite because our sin gets in the way. Paul discusses this in Romans 7. And he ends the chapter with the question, who can deliver us from this way of life? And he answers himself by saying, Christ is the person. So what is the best way to practice our life in Christ? The answer is both simple and complex. Simply, we need to be constantly dwelling on Christ. The complex part is trying to constantly dwell on Christ. The early church came up with a solution for praying constantly. They named this simple solution the Jesus Prayer. And while it has many forms, the easiest and most common is, Lord Jesus, Son of God, forgive me, I'm a sinner. If that thought is continually running through your minds, your focus will be on Christ. And in addition, you will realize that it's not you who is working, but rather Christ. As you pray this prayer, over and over in your mind, you will begin to be able to think about it while doing other things. At that point, you'll be doing exactly what Paul has encouraged in 1 Thessalonians 5:17, to pray without ceasing and constantly changing your life towards Christ.